All right, where am I? Get out of the way. Chapter 13, Zeus and Hera. Only Zeus, the father of heaven, might wield the Thunderbolt, and it was with the threat of its fatal flash that he controlled his quarrelsome and rebellious family of Mount Olympus. He also ordered the heavenly bodies, made laws, enforced oaths, and pronounced oracles. When his mother Rhea, foreseeing what trouble his lust would cause, forbade him to marry, he angrily threatened to violate her. Though she at once turned into a menacing serpent, this did not daunt Zeus, who became a male serpent and, twining about her in an indissoluble knot, made good his threat. It was then that he began his long series of adventures and love. He fathered the seasons and the three fates on Themis, the Carites on Eurynome, the three muses on Mnemosyne, with whom he lay for 9 nights, and some say Persephone, the queen of the underworld, whom his brother Hades forcibly married, on the nymph Styx. Thus he lacked no power either above or below earth, and his wife Hera was equal to him in one thing alone, that she could still bestow the gift of prophecy on any man or beast she pleased. B. Zeus and Hera bickered constantly. Vexed by his infidelities, she often humiliated him by her scheming ways. Though he would confide his secrets to her, he sometimes accepted her advice. He never fully trusted Hera, and she knew that if he offended beyond a certain point, he would flog or even hurl a thunderbolt at her. She therefore resorted to ruthless intrigue, as in the matter of Heracles' birth. Her is that Heracles' birth, and sometimes borrowed Aphrodite's girdle to excite his passion and thus weaken his will. He is now claimed to be Cronus's firstborn son. C. A time when Zeus's pride and petulance became so intolerable that Hera, Poseidon, Apollo, and all the other Olympians except Hestia surrounded him suddenly as he lay asleep on his couch and bound him with rawhide thongs and knotted into 100 knots so that he could not move. He threatened them with instant death, but they had placed his thunderbolt out of reach and laughed insultingly at him. While they were celebrating their victory and jealousy, discussing who was to be his successor, Thetis and Nereid, foreseeing a civil war on Olympus, hurried in search of the 100-handed Boreas, who swiftly untied the thongs, using every hand at once and releasing his master. Because it was Hera who had led the conspiracy against him, Zeus hung her up from the sky with a golden bracelet about either wrist and an anvil fastened to either ankle. The other deities were vexed beyond words, but dared attempt no rescue for all her piteous cries. In the end, Zeus undertook to free her if they swore never more to rebel against him, and this each in turn grudgingly did. Zeus punished Poseidon and Apollo by sending them as bondservants to King Laomedon, for whom they built the city of Troy, but he pardoned the others as having acted under duress. Footers. 1. The marital relations of Zeus and Hera reflect those of the barbarous Dorian age, when women had been deprived of all their magical power except that of prophecy and come to be regarded as chattels. It is possible that the occasion on which the power of Zeus was saved only by Thetis and Briareus after the other Olympians had conspired against him was a palace revolution by vassal princes of the Hellenic High King, who nearly succeeded in dethroning him, and that help came from a company of loyal non-Hellenic household troops recruited in Macedonia, Briareus's home, and from a detachment of Manganesians, Thetis's people. If so, the conspiracy will have been instigated by the high priestess of Hera, whom the High King subsequently humiliated, as the myth describes. 2. Zeus's violation of the earth goddess Rhea implies that the Zeus worshipping Hellenes took over the all agricultural and funerary ceremonies. She had forbidden she had forbidden him to marry in the same in the sense that hitherto monogamy had been unknown. Women took whatever lovers they pleased. His fatherhood of the seasons on Themis means that the Hellenes also assumed control of the calendar. Themis, order, was the great goddess who ordered the year of 13 months, divided by the summer and winter solstices into 2 seasons. At Athens, these seasons were personified as Thalo and Carpo, originally Carpho, which means respectively sprouting and withering, and their temple contained an altar to the phallic Dionysus. They appear in a rock carving at Hadessus or Petra. Yeah, where they are twin aspects of the lion goddess Hepta, born on the wings of a double-headed sun eagle. 3. Charis, Grace, had been the goddess in the disarming aspect. Charis Grace had been the goddess in the disarming aspect she presented when the high priestess chose the sacred king as her lover. Homer mentions 2 Carites, Pasithea and Kale, which seem to be a forced separation of 3 words, Pasi, Thea, Kale, the goddess who is beautiful to all men. The 2 Carites, Oxo, increase, and Hegemon, mastery, whom the Athenians honored, corresponded with the 2 seasons. Later, the Carites were worshipped as a triad to match the 3 fates, the triple goddesses in her most unbending mood. That they were Zeus's children born to Eurynome. The Critics implies that the Hellenic overlord had power to dispose of all marriageable young women. The Muses, 4, the Muses, mountain goddesses, originally a triad, are the triple goddesses in her orgiastic aspect. Zeus's claim to be the father is a late one. Hesiod calls them daughters of Mother Earth and air.